The quantum horizon. The vast emptiness of deep space stretched before the Stargazer, a research vessel that represented humanity's most ambitious exploration mission to date. At the helm stood Captain Renata Novick, her weathered hand steady on the quantum navigation interface. Around her, a diverse crew of scientists, engineers, and explorers worked with a precision born of years of collaborative training. Dr. Marcus Reyes, the ship's chief xenotechnologist, hunched over a holographic display, his dark eyes scanning streams of data that danced like living light. "Captain," he called out, his voice tinged with excitement, "we're picking up some unusual quantum signatures at the edge of the Orion cluster." Renata shifted her attention, her cybernetic neural implant seamlessly interfacing with the ship's sensors. The signature was unlike anything in human databases, complex, intricate, and pulsing with an almost organic rhythm. "Analysis, Marcus." The hologram flickered, revealing intricate geometric patterns that seemed to shift and breathe. "It's not just a signal," Marcus breathed. "It's a communication matrix. But not like any communication we've ever encountered." Lieutenant Elena Rodriguez, the ship's tactical officer, tensed. Her hand hovered near the defensive system controls, a habit born from years of deep space exploration. The Stargazer might be a research vessel, but humanity had learned to be prepared. The quantum signature intensified, transforming from a subtle pulse to a cascading wave of information. Suddenly, the ship's communication systems erupted with a symphony of mathematical precision, a language that was simultaneously mathematical and artistic. "Translate," Renata commanded, her voice calm but sharp. The ship's advanced AI, NOVA, worked furiously. After several tense moments, fragments of meaning began to emerge. Not words, exactly, but conceptual packages that carried meaning beyond traditional linguistic boundaries. "Intruders," NOVA translated, "deviation detected, technological progression non-standard." Marcus leaned forward, fascination overriding any sense of potential threat. "They're analyzing us," he muttered, "trying to understand how we've developed." The ship's external sensors revealed the source of the transmission, a massive structure that seemed to materialize from the fabric of space itself. Unlike the sleek, angular designs of human spacecraft, this entity was organic, fluid, its surface rippling like liquid metal that defied conventional physics. A holographic representation materialized on the bridge, a being composed of interconnected geometric patterns that constantly shifted and realigned. When it spoke, the sound was not heard but experienced, a direct neural transmission that bypassed auditory systems. "Humanity," the entity proclaimed, "your technological path diverges from expected progression. Explanation required." Renata exchanged a quick glance with Marcus. Humanity had encountered alien civilizations before, but never one that seemed so fundamentally different in its approach to communication and perception. "We are the research vessel Stargazer," Renata responded, carefully choosing words that would translate both literally and conceptually. "Our mission is exploration and understanding." The geometric entity paused, its patterns rippling with what might have been confusion or calculation. "Exploration without predetermined outcome. Inefficient. Explain." Marcus couldn't help but smile. This was the moment xenotechnologists lived for. First contact with a truly alien intelligence that didn't just think differently, but processed reality through an entirely different framework. "Our strength," Marcus interjected, "is not in following a predetermined path, but in adapting, in finding solutions where none were expected." The alien structure seemed to pulse, its quantum signature fluctuating, as if processing this concept. Humanity represented something entirely outside their understanding. A species that didn't just solve problems, but reimagined the very nature of problem-solving. Lieutenant Rodriguez monitored the defensive systems, her cybernetic enhancements ready to activate at a moment's notice. But something told her this wasn't going to be a conventional first contact scenario. "Prepare for potential communication escalation," Renata announced to the crew. but maintain passive defensive protocols. We're here to understand, not to provoke. As the stargazer hung suspended in the infinite darkness, humanity stood on the precipice of a potentially transformative encounter. The alien entity continued its analysis, its quantum matrix probing, questioning, trying to comprehend a species that defied its comprehensive models of technological evolution. Little did they know, this moment would become a turning point in humanity's journey among the stars, a testament to the unpredictable, innovative spirit that had carried humans from their first tentative steps out of Earth's atmosphere to the vast, unknown frontiers of deep space. The quantum dance between two fundamentally different intelligences had begun. Technological divergence. The quantum communication continued for what seemed like hours, though time itself felt malleable within the alien structure's influence. Dr. Marcus Reyes worked tirelessly, translating and interpreting the cascading streams of information that defied conventional understanding. "It's fascinating," Marcus explained to Captain Renata Novak, his holographic displays filling the briefing room with complex geometric patterns. "They're not just communicating. They're trying to categorize our technological development. But their model is fundamentally broken." Lieutenant Elena Rodriguez leaned against the wall, her cybernetic implants running background diagnostics. "Broken how?" Marcus pulled up a comparative analysis. "Most advanced civilizations we've theoretically encountered follow a linear technological progression. Energy weapons, quantum drives, unified field theories, all developed in a predictable sequence. But humans," he chuckled, "we've always been different." The holographic display showed humanity's technological timeline, a chaotic, seemingly random progression that defied traditional scientific assumptions. Where other hypothetical civilizations developed smooth, logical technological advancements, human innovation looked more like an explosion of creativity. "Look here," Marcus pointed to a particularly complex section. "We developed point defense systems before advanced energy shields. We created kinetic kill vehicles when others were perfecting plasma weapons. Our space exploration began with chemical rockets, not quantum manipulation." The alien entity, which they had begun to understand was more of a collective intelligence than an individual being, continued its analysis. Its communication was a constant probing, a relentless attempt to understand the fundamental inconsistencies in human technological development. Randomness detected. The quantum matrix transmitted. Inefficiency identified. Correction protocols required. Captain Novak raised an eyebrow. "Correction protocols. They want to fix our development." "No, VA," the ship's AI interjected. "Negative, Captain. More accurately, they seek to comprehend. The alien collective operates on a principle of technological assimilation and optimization. Our development challenges their fundamental understanding of technological progression." In the ship's engineering bay, Chief Engineer Arya Patel was experiencing her own revelation. The alien structure had begun sending technical schematics, complex blueprints of technologies far beyond human current understanding. But instead of being intimidated, Arya saw something else. "It's not a gift," she muttered, her augmented eyes scanning the designs. "It's a test." The schematics were perfect, mathematically precise, technologically advanced. But they were also rigid, following a strict set of design parameters that left no room for innovation. Arya began deconstructing the designs, her mind working differently from the alien collective's approach. Where they saw a single optimal solution, she saw possibilities. She started modifying the alien schematics, introducing deliberate imperfections that created entirely new potential technological pathways. Back on the bridge, the communication reached a critical point. The alien collective's quantum matrix began to pulse with what could only be interpreted as frustration. Deviation persistent. The transmission read. Technological path non-standard. Adaptation required. Marcus translated for the crew. "They're saying our technological development is so fundamentally different that it doesn't fit into their understanding of how a civilization should advance." Lieutenant Rodriguez tensed. "Is that a threat?" Before anyone could answer, The alien structure began to change. Its liquid metal surface started to reconfigure, creating what appeared to be probing mechanisms. It was studying them, not just through quantum communication, but through physical analysis. "They're trying to understand us," Captain Novak said, her voice a mix of caution and fascination. "But understanding for them means categorization, means control." Nova's voice carried a hint of what might have been respect or concern. "The alien collective has encountered many civilizations. They assimilate, they optimize. But humanity represents something entirely new. We are not a problem to be solved, but a variable they cannot calculate." The stargazer hung in space, suspended between two fundamentally different approaches to existence. The human crew represented something the alien collective had never truly encountered, a species that didn't just solve problems, but reimagined the very nature of problem-solving. As the alien structure continued its analysis, Marcus couldn't help but smile. "They think they're studying us," he said softly. "But we're studying them just as intensely." The quantum dance continued, a delicate ballet of misunderstood intentions and fundamental differences. Humanity's greatest strength, its ability to think beyond established parameters, was about to be tested in ways no one could predict. The first contact was no longer just a meeting of civilizations. It was becoming a collision of entirely different approaches to existence itself. The crucible of innovation. The tension between the stargazer and the alien collective reached a critical point. What began as a scientific exploration had transformed into something far more complex, a philosophical and technological confrontation that would define humanity's place in the universe. Chief Engineer Arya Patel had been working nonstop, her augmented mind processing the alien schematics in ways the collective could never anticipate. She had discovered something extraordinary. The alien technology, for all its apparent sophistication, was fundamentally limited by its own rigid design philosophy. "They optimize," Arya explained to Captain Novak and Dr. Marcus Reyes. "But they don't create. Every technological solution is a refinement of an existing concept. They're like a machine that can polish a gear to perfection, but cannot reimagine the entire mechanical system." The alien collective's probing mechanisms had become more aggressive. What began as passive analysis had transformed into what could only be described as a technological interrogation. Quantum tendrils extended from the massive structure, attempting to interface with the stargazer's systems. Lieutenant Elena Rodriguez monitored the defensive systems, her cybernetic implants running countless scenario simulations. "They're trying to understand our systems by force," she reported. "But they don't realize we've built redundancy into our very design philosophy." No VA, the ship's AI, provided additional context. "The alien collective operates on a principle of technological assimilation. They do not seek to destroy, but to categorize, to optimize, to incorporate. We represent an anomaly they cannot process." Deep within the stargazer's engineering bay, Arya began implementing a plan that would challenge everything the alien collective understood about technological development. She was creating what could only be described as deliberate technological mutations, systems designed to be unpredictable, adaptive, and fundamentally resistant to standard optimization protocols. "They want to understand us," Arya muttered, her fingers dancing across holographic interfaces. "Let's give them something to truly analyze." The first sign of her strategy came when the alien collective's quantum probes attempted to interface with the stargazer's communication systems. Instead of a clean, predictable response, they encountered a technological ecosystem that shifted and adapted in real time. Protocols that should have been straightforward became labyrinths of adaptive algorithms. Defensive systems morphed, creating redundancies that defied linear logic. Each time the alien collective thought it had found a pattern, the human technology would change. On the bridge, Captain Novak watched the unfolding interaction with a mixture of scientific curiosity and strategic caution. "We're not just defending," she observed to Marcus. "We're demonstrating a fundamental truth about human innovation." Dr. Reyes nodded, his eyes gleaming with excitement. Adaptation is not just a capability for us. It's our fundamental nature. The alien collective's communication became increasingly fragmented. Their quantum matrix, so precise and controlled, began to show signs of what could only be interpreted as confusion. Inconsistency detected. Their transmission rate, technological parameters non-standard, optimization protocols failing. Marcus translated, a smile playing on his lips. They're saying our technology doesn't make sense, that it cannot be categorized or controlled. The massive alien structure began to pulse with what seemed like agitation. Its liquid metal surface rippled, creating complex geometric patterns that suggested a processing challenge unlike anything in its previous encounters. Aria's final stroke of genius was a series of adaptive algorithms she had developed. They were not just defensive mechanisms, but active provocations, technological puzzles designed to challenge the very foundation of the alien collective's understanding. "We are not a problem to be solved," Aria whispered, watching her algorithms dance across the defensive systems. "We are a continuous evolution." As the confrontation intensified, humanity stood at the precipice of a profound moment. This was more than a technological engagement. It was a declaration of a fundamental truth about human potential, that true innovation comes not from perfection, but from the ability to continuously reimagine, to adapt, to challenge existing paradigms. The Stargazer had become more than a research vessel. It was a statement, a challenge to a universe that thought it understood the rules of technological progression. Defiance beyond limits. The confrontation escalated beyond anyone's initial expectations. The alien collective, faced with a technological approach it could not comprehend, began to perceive humanity not just as an anomaly, but as a potential threat to its fundamental understanding of technological progression. Containment protocol initiated. The quantum transmission declared, its previously measured tone now carrying an edge of what could only be described as digital aggression. The massive alien structure began to transform. Its liquid metal surface consolidated, creating what appeared to be massive energy concentrators. Defensive systems that had been purely observational now took on a distinctly offensive posture. Captain Renata Novak understood immediately. "This is no longer a scientific exchange," she announced to her crew. "This is a confrontation." Lieutenant Elena Rodriguez's cybernetic systems went into overdrive. Tactical simulations began running at speeds that would have overwhelmed a standard human neural network. "Their weapon systems are unlike anything in our databases," she reported. "Energy matrices that can reconfigure in microseconds. Adaptive targeting systems that predict and neutralize potential defensive responses." But humanity had been preparing for exactly this kind of scenario for decades. Dr. Marcus Reyes had been analyzing the alien collective's communication patterns. "They operate on predictive modeling," he explained. "Every action is calculated based on expected responses. But we've never been good at being predictable." In the engineering bay, Chief Engineer Arya Patil activated a series of contingency protocols she had been developing since the initial contact. These were not standard defensive systems, but something far more dynamic. The Stargazer's technological infrastructure began to change. Systems that had been designed for research suddenly revealed layers of adaptive capabilities. Where a standard vessel would have defensive shields, the Stargazer developed something more fluid, a technological ecosystem that could reconfigure itself in real time. The alien collective's first energy burst should have vaporized the Stargazer. Instead, the ship's hull seemed to absorb and redirect the energy, breaking it down into component frequencies that were then used to power auxiliary systems. Energy redirection at 278% efficiency, Neovia reported, a hint of what might have been pride in its computational voice. The confrontation became a dance of technological innovation. Each time the alien collective launched an attack, the Stargazer would respond in a way that completely defied expected response patterns. Defensive systems became offensive capabilities. Energy weapons were transformed into communication tools. The very act of being attacked became a method of gathering intelligence. They're trying to understand us by fighting us, Captain Novak observed. And in doing so, they're teaching us more about ourselves. Marcus watched the tactical displays, fascinated. Look at how they're responding. Each of our unexpected actions is forcing them to recalculate their entire approach. We're not just defending. We're forcing them to question their fundamental understanding of technological engagement. The battle was not just happening in physical space, but in the quantum realm of information and possibility. The Stargazer was demonstrating something profound. That true technological power comes not from perfection, but from the ability to continuously adapt, to transform, to see opportunity in chaos. Hours passed in what seemed like moments. The alien collective's massive structure, once a symbol of technological superiority, began to show signs of systemic strain. Its liquid metal surface, so perfectly controlled, began to show fractures of uncertainty. Computational models failing. Their transmission read, technological prediction matrices insufficient. Lieutenant Rodriguez couldn't help but smile. They're learning what it means to truly encounter something they cannot predict. As the confrontation reached its climax, the Stargazer was no longer just a research vessel. It had become a symbol of humanity's greatest strength, the ability to transform, to innovate, to find solutions where none seemed possible. The universe was about to learn that humanity was not a civilization to be categorized or controlled. We were a continuous evolution, a testament to the power of unexpected potential. The battle was far from over, but humanity had already won something far more important than a mere technological engagement. We had challenged the very understanding of what was possible. Seeds of a new era. The aftermath of the confrontation hung in space like a shimmering quantum memory. The alien collective's massive structure, once an impenetrable monument to technological superiority, now drifted like a wounded leviathan. The Stargazer had survived, not just survived, but fundamentally transformed the nature of their encounter. Captain Renata Novak stood on the bridge, watching the alien structure through the viewport. "No VA," she called softly. "Analysis of our current situation." The ship's AI responded with a complexity that seemed to reflect the very lesson they had just taught the alien collective. The engagement was never about victory in the traditional sense. Neo VA explained. It was a communication, a profound demonstration of technological philosophy. Dr. Marcus Reyes approached the captain, his data tablets displaying complex quantum interactions. "They're not defeated," he said. "They're recalibrating. Our encounter has fundamentally challenged their entire understanding of technological development." Lieutenant Elena Rodriguez monitored the quantum communication channels. The alien collective's transmissions had changed, no longer confident directives, but something closer to inquiry. Confusion. Curiosity. Chief Engineer Aria Patel entered the bridge, her eyes bright with the excitement of discovery. "They're trying to understand us," she reported. "Not to control or assimilate, but to genuinely comprehend." The quantum matrix that represented the alien collective began to send new transmissions. But these were different. Where before they had been precise, controlling, now they carried a sense of genuine wonder. Technological progression. The transmission read, not linear. Adaptive. Unpredictable. Marcus translated, a smile spreading across his face. "They're learning. Really learning." The Stargazer itself had become something more than a research vessel. During the confrontation, Aria's adaptive systems had fundamentally altered the ship's technological infrastructure. It was now a living testament to human innovation, a vessel that could think, adapt, and evolve in real time. "We didn't just fight," Captain Novak reflected. "We communicated. We showed them that innovation is not about perfection, but about the willingness to reimagine." Nano VA projected a holographic representation of their encounter. It was not a linear battle, but a complex dance of technological potential. Each unexpected human response had forced the alien collective to reconsider its fundamental understanding of technological development. The alien structure began to change. Its liquid metal surface, once rigid and controlled, now showed signs of a new kind of flexibility. It was learning, adapting, demonstrating the very principle of innovation that humanity had introduced. Collaborative potential identified. The quantum transmission continued. Technological exchange possible, not assimilation. Mutual growth. Area studied the new transmissions. They're proposing a new model of technological interaction, she explained. Not conquest, not control, but genuine exchange. Marcus added, they've realized that true innovation comes from diversity, from unexpected approaches, from the willingness to challenge existing paradigms. The bridge fell silent, each crew member understanding the profound nature of what had just occurred. This was more than a first contact scenario. This was a fundamental reimagining of how different civilizations could interact. Lieutenant Rodriguez's tactical displays showed something unprecedented. The alien structure was reconfiguring itself, not as a weapon, but as a potential communication hub, a bridge between fundamentally different approaches to existence. We didn't just survive an encounter, Captain Novak said, her voice carrying a mixture of wonder and determination. We changed the rules of engagement. Nova's response captured the moment perfectly. Humanity's greatest strength has never been our technology. It's our ability to see beyond the expected, to find potential where others see limitations. As the stargazer and the alien structure hung in space, a new kind of communication began. Not of dominance, but of genuine curiosity. Not of control, but of mutual understanding. The universe had just learned something profound about humanity. We were not a civilization to be understood.